Welcome to US Movie Recaps. In today's video, we will be enjoying a horror fantasy film, Vampire Hunter Bloodlust. There will be spoilers ahead, chill out and enjoy. Young Charlotte is taken hostage by Baron Meier Link, a vampire nobleman with a history for not harming humans needlessly. John Elbaum, Charlotte's father, hires a Vampire, a person who is half human and half vampire. He employs a Vampire to find Charlotte and rescue her, or to kill her mercifully if she's been transformed into a vampire. He promises a down payment of $500,000 and a possible final payment of $10 million. Agrees to look for Charlotte but demands that Elburn double the cash. Alan Elburn, Charlotte's older brother, hires a different team of vampire hunters at the same time. The notorious Markus brothers, commanded by the enormous Nolt, a blade master by the name of Kyle, a psychic with physical disabilities by the name of Grove, and a woman by the name of Layla who hunts vampires for sentimental rather than financial purposes. The vampire hunting group encounters a wave of vampires on their way to see the noble vampire, and they end up murdering all of them. Encounters the vampire hunters on their journey and introduces them to one another. As gives them his name before leaving, Borgoff claims that he is the renowned vampire hunter who is unfailing in his work. He is asked by one of the group's members not to compliment because he opposes them. Advises himself to complete the task swiftly because the Markus brothers might cause him difficulties. When is traveling through the desert the next morning, he sits on his knees and checks the path with his hand, which has a face and a mouth on it and can tell things. His hand informs him that 6 hours ago, the vampire and Charlotte traveled along the same path. Then, he observes movement in the sand and a swarm of giant sand mantas arrive. His hand warns him not to walk that way because the mantas would not stop anytime soon, but does not care. Arrives at Meier Link's lair in the late afternoon and evades every assault. When the sun is near to set, Leela from the Markus brothers gang shows up and is beaten by Meier Link's chariot. Climbs onto the nobleman's carriage and starts to fight with him, but he backs down when he hears Charlotte calling for the vampire. Meier Link is being chased by the two parties, and the Markus brothers. Meier Link, on the other side, employs a gang of deadly mercenary bodyguards known as the Mutant Barbarois. Benj is a shadow puppeteer, Makira is a werewolf, and Caroline is a shapeshifter. Barbarois, a mutant, murders Nolt, one of the Markus brothers, while Layla, Kyle, and Borgoff keep on looking for Charlotte. Goes to the Barbarois' residence to recruit them to assist him in freeing the girl, but they warn him that they have been faithful to the nobles for a long time and will not betray them. Despite the fact that one of the Markus brothers shows up and kills numerous Barbarois, the three Barbarois that the noble vampire hired manage to escape with the carriage while being pursued by The Markus brothers must combat the Barbarois to defend Kyle after he is tossed out of the car. They visit a town in the morning, and as goes to buy a horse for himself, one of the Markus brothers requests that Layla go speak to the sheriff in the bar. She informs the sheriff of whereabouts. Is not permitted in town because he is a Vampire, nor are any nobles, therefore the sheriff goes to arrest When the sheriff is going to shoot the old man selling horses aims a gun at sheriff and informs him that saved him many years ago and that he owes him a great debt. As the plot develops, and Layla meet Charlotte,